I did put that on here, but I'll.
Michelle, ready?
I'm ready when you're ready.
1602, are you ready, chief? Yes. Roll it. No public comment, I think. Thank you very much. Approval of the minutes of last month.
I've read the minutes and I'd make a motion for approval.
Thank you, Seth. Second?
Second.
Okay, motion passed. Thank you very much. Again, go ahead.
First month's payables total $18,035.77, which includes a couple of items to point out. Volunteer payouts that are included in the warrants total $7,233. This reflects November 2014 activity. There's a payment to U.S. Bank Corp. for $1,237, a payment to Bergen and Company for $1,254, Global Chemicals for $1,208, and emergency reporting for $2,237. Payroll for December totals $12,553.09. This represents 1 month salary for Chief Carlton, 1 month salary for Chief Shields. There was 1 meeting for 3 commissioners. The secretary had 1 meeting plus clerk. Easy for me to say. Volunteer payouts totaled $5,173 in payroll for a total payout of volunteers of $12,406. Financial statements are done and on your desk. We require motions to approve the warrant request covering current month vouchers and current month payroll.
Any questions? You want motions? No questions? Okay, no. I make a motion then to approve current month payables as $18,035.77 and make a second motion to approve the payroll for December for $12,553.09. It's 2 motions that need a second.
Second on that? Second. Thank you. Any opposition, any questions? No, motion passed. Both motions passed. Thank you very much. Next item. Yeah, budget update. Is there anything we need to talk about in the regarding budget? Anybody have any comments?
Well, yeah, we're going to have any pushover, leftover?
Yeah, that's something I'll have to sit down with Suzanne with, but we're going to have additional monies that will go into capital savings is what my projection is.
Approximate amount?
I don't know if Suzanne can do
You've
it.
got your financial statements in front of you,
Oh, okay.
okay? I know, to read them, it's tough.
Okay.
We
We
have
have underspent as of the end of November,
$123,000.
$123,000. So, you know, we still have December ahead of us, and we're sure that there's some things.
So these have to be deducted and stuff like that, so
No, yeah,
correct. This will be deducted
yeah, this
from that
month,
amount.
and then, and anything else that
Right.
might happen on a credit card or.
Basically, we're in good shape.
Absolutely. So this is beyond what I already had set aside for my projections for capital and reserve in the 2014 budget. So this is anything in addition to. So I'm hoping that we can at least put an additional $90,000 with the expenses that we do have coming up or that could possibly be affecting this organization in the future. I think this is, overall, we've done a good job with our expenditures.
Thank you.
Better than my checkbook.
No, Bruce numbers are high.
good, have you guys had any improvement?
Yes, we do. I'll go over that. Absolutely. We do. Yep, and I got that.
Now, I want to tell you what I'm not sure you're aware of or you remember, but at the beginning of January, we could send in a warrant request to be, those warrants to be paid in the calendar year of 2013.
2014.
I'm sorry.
Anything that comes in
2014.
December from this point forward will
That
be
you
spent.
want to
Absolutely.
allocate to 2014, we
Yeah.
put in a special pay,
Right.
and that can be,
So commissioners, there's some things I'm looking at, so an additional projection, 80,000 in addition to what I have already set aside, so that's just an approximation.
Can I interject, what do you have already set aside? So,
The 2014 year budget, I don't remember what we had set aside.
do you want to know what is actually in the bank accounts? Or do you
No,
wanna
what
know
we had projected is set aside into reserve and capital.
You can email me later.
I want to say 25,000 is what we projected.
Yeah, I don't have the budget in front of me, it's hard for me to tell.
It's online,
And I'm just lazy.
I know, well,
People don't like to read.
so, yeah, it's
Oh, if it's in
online.
your brain and I can get it now,
I think it's
I'm
12,000 to capital, 12,000 to reserve is what we, to something close to 25,000. So if we're lucky, we might have 100,000 back into capital. And we had discussed putting everything into capital from this point forward, just because of the expenditures we have coming up in regards to apparatus, SCBA, building, et cetera.
So that,
Find out.
Yeah.
Suzanne, on the maintenance division, you have a line item there, intergovernment service property. What does that mean?
Is that on the expense side?
Income statement.
Oh, okay, that's, we get money from the forest district and we get money from others.
Right,
So just little bits of money we get from them every year. That's what that
all right, yeah, I remember that now, sorry for that.
is. Don't be sorry. I love it when I can answer a question.
All right, let me ask you this.
Okay.
This is the maintenance division, again, expenses. I'm looking at vehicle expenses here.
That's going to be a Carlton
I'm missing.
vehicles.
I'm missing a couple of vehicles, so
They're spread out, so
are they spread out now?
they're in different divisions.
Okay, so you have suppression,
Yeah, so they're in different.
maintenance, and you have EMS.
Correct.
I'm in a meeting, kiddos.
Okay,
So to give you an idea, under volunteer firefighter EMS, we have 3 vehicles. We have Battalion 58, which is an EMS vehicle, 85802, which is the white ambulance, and 858. So those are the 3 vehicles there. And then.
And the Darling
Yeah, the Darley is,
is there too.
yeah, but it's not the 1994 or the 91. So underneath the suppression division, we have on the second page, we have the 94 Darley, we have 59, which is 5802, and utility 5802. So,
okay, that's all we have for the
That's
fire
there.
suppression.
yep,
Okay. So all vehicles are listed, I mean, they're
and U50, yes, that's correct. And there's some line items we can still clean up, obviously. Like we don't own the Crown Vic anymore, so administration division, we can get rid of that. And Suzanne, I'll go through that at the end of the year and then just clean it up a little bit more.
Do
It's
that every
it's
year.
been a constant.
there's another one that I brought up before, and it's, we do not own any property anymore.
I understand that.
Find a way and get it off of there. It's gonna come up, it's gonna bite us in the
And no, it's not, no, it has come up. I talked to the auditors about it. They don't care, okay? They don't care that money is sitting in Gulf Road. They don't. I asked them how to get rid of it, and they said, basically, any way that you so desire. So I can take it, and, it's one thing to, get rid of an asset, but you have to have something to write it off against. Okay, so,
Professional. Seems to me there's a way to clean that up. So I
well,
just
if
worry
we
about
would have
it.
sold the building for everything it was worth, then it wouldn't be there.
Say that again.
Well,
If we would have sold the building for what we had it booked for, maybe not what it was worth, that's wrong language, but what it was booked, then we wouldn't have a balance sitting in there. But we didn't. It was a poor market. It's
So,
not very much money.
It was a market at the time, and the market was fine at that time.
Well, whatever.
It showed us that at the time, we got exactly what we wanted for it.
There you go.
Suzanne and I have discussed this, and I think it's going to probably maybe take getting advice of a CPA in order to move stuff around, so we're protected definitely for tax purposes and things like that. And just for,
That's it.
No, we don't. First of all, we don't. pay
not
taxes.
taxes,
Yeah.
not taxes,
Yeah.
but we need to get their advice. So that's something that we might have to do in the future.
I
to
like things
make
like
those
that.
figures.
Clean, when the public looks at something like that, they'll go, what do they got going to Gulf Road? I think we also have, we have an electric bill that comes in on the corner of Tyee and,
That's actually, this is not.
That's real.
I mean, I realize that's real.
Yeah,
The point of it is, if it wasn't, we want to get it off of there.
right.
Well, we have an explanation for it. Gulf Road, that's a really weak explanation. I know that a CPA has a way of getting it off. I mean,
Oh,
he can put it in
yeah. But I'm not a CPA, I'm a bookkeeper. So.
I know, no, the thing is that, and the auditor's office should have a way.
Well, they don't do that.
Well, the biggest thing, the end game
That's not
is,
their job.
yeah, the end game is that the auditor doesn't mind that it's there. They don't have an issue with it, it's not hurting us in our audits. I understand cleaning up the records the best we can. Again, every year, Suzanne and I sit down and we go through it, and we try to find the items that are located that have that zero balance, are not needed anymore, and we try to get rid of those. I think we're coming down now to where we're gonna have to go out for that advice and bring somebody in and help us move and delete certain subject lines.
Suzanne, you create the line item, right? Right?
I did, I created the
You
general
create
ledger.
them.
Yeah.
You create the wording of them and all that.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Well, as long as you guys keep it close by it.
So I think one time Jeff suggested an account I write it against. Do you remember that, Jeff?
yes, I do. I don't remember exactly the subject.
Okay, well, it's this balance that's left over from the Gulf Road building sale. It's in assets. So I need to, they want it out of there. But I have to write it off against something in the income statement. So,
Well, there's nothing for everything else for making a profit between a buy and sell.
no, but that's not, yeah,
It's not it.
that's not what that reflects, a profit. A profit's gonna be on your income and expense statement.
Yeah.
So this is an asset that was valued at X amount of dollars. We sold it for less than what it was booked for in our books. So we have $3,300 sitting in there that is not real. So I need to clear that out, and I'm gonna have to expense it out. So it is, and I don't think about it much, but
No,
I know, I know it's there, and I know it bothers some people.
Yeah, well, the other bothers me, and not very many things bother me anymore, is if I look at something like this, I want to clean, I want everyone to understand it.
Yeah,
And if I see 0 after 0 after 0 after 0 times 50, that bothers me. And that's cleaned up, I appreciate that. And I'm sure you'll find a way to,
yeah.
Figure out what to
Christopher
do.
knows a CPA,
I don't know.
Yes, he did.
If
So maybe
Who are you guys talking about?
maybe you can ask that person,
Well, she-
or have that person call
It all depends
We can
on this,
discuss
all
it.
depends on this time these days, you don't know how,
me.
who knows where he's been.
Okay, moving on.
Anyway, I'll make sure it's cleaned up by then.
All right, appreciate it, thanks.
We'll get together.
Go ahead, Chief.
So correspondence. We had an email concerning the Remembrance Day on the 11th, and it was an email governing what was going to be sent to the All Point Bulletin and Point Interface regarding the event, the event itself. So it was a nice email, and then we had an email from, I'm not sure if it was a citizen, Point Roberts or someone else, asking if we have the right to drive through Canada with our emergency vehicles. And I contacted them, gave them my personal phone number, and wanted to talk to them over the phone versus email, and I never heard a response back. So they wanted to know if we were allowed to park in Canada, drive through Canada.
In emergency vehicles?
Yeah, being emergency vehicles and being exempt, those types of things. And they never responded back to my email with my personal contact information.
How odd is that?
I don't know, it kind of threw me for a loop, to be honest with you.
Sure.
I've never received any type of inquiry like that, and I don't know what the basis of the inquiry was. Of course, we are licensed in the state of Washington. Of course, we have the right to drive regularly and emergent through British Columbia for our calls, and of course, we have the right to go to restaurants and shop and everything else, and park in parking lots and on the street and wherever else. And, all that is legal, so I don't know where the premise was coming from. Okay, so Chief's report. So the Chief's report is for November 2014. Point of information, AFG, Assistance to Firefighter Grant Applications. I have placed those. I placed 2 applications. One was delayed because the FEMA server went down in the last hour of application deadline, and they had to review those applications that were started and almost complete. So I received an email yesterday stating that our application was picked as one of those that could continue and be submitted past the deadline, because I was unable to submit it before the deadline because of the server issue. And that was on their end. So they have thousands of applications that had that issue. And now they're having to go through those applications one by one. But we were given permission, so they submitted that on our behalf today. So I have an apparatus application in, and also an application for SCBA's. The apparatus is around $440,000, and the SCBA grant is around $145,000 to $150,000. So if we do not get the SCBA grant, then we're looking at that type of expenditure most likely in 2016 in regards to purchasing new SCBA's. So that's why I do the best I can in my due diligence when it comes to the budget and trying to save as much as I can while not hampering the emergency operations that we have in this community. Therefore, hopefully we have that additional saved over that can go into the purchase of the SCBA's if we're unlucky about getting a grant. The vehicle will also be coming up in the next couple of years. The most prudent one right now is for SCBA's. The vehicle one will have to be looked at definitely in a 2-year period, no longer than 3. Just to remind the public that our vehicles are now 23 going on 24 years old and 21 years old. So they're 1991 and 1994 if my math is correct on those ages. A lot has changed in the fire apparatus over those years, as in safety and efficiency for the firefighters that operate those rigs. Airbags are a component now of all apparatus, so they have curtain airbags just like your vehicle. The roof replacement is underway, so we got a estimate from Mountain Maker Roofing. They were out here. The estimate came in at $15,900. Commissioner Riffle was able to meet from Mount Baker Roofing. When he came out and spoke to Chief Shields, he was able to come over just to make sure it was the right areas that we wanted to have worked on. I also got a schematic of this, and it does cover the lower roof, the part next to where the second level comes out, down the travelway, and the upper section over the sleeping quarters. So it's $15,900. And again, I checked with legal, if you remember from last month. For some reason, if the incidentals, they get underneath the roof, they have a lot of rotted underboard in there, they have to do a lot of repairs. Because we do have a dip in the lower section out here, then if it goes over $20,000, it's perfectly fine, because the estimates, we started the project underneath the $20,000 limit. So,
I'd also like to add that Steve said he's quite sure that it is just the sheeting on the roof. Now you recall that too.
Yeah.
I think any of us that have done construction, it's probably simple. It's probably just sheeting has to be replaced. So it's not something it's not structural beyond just the sheeting itself, the plywood sheeting. So.
right. Something I'm mentioning in my chief's chat, fireside chat this month, is we also have to look at repainting the entire building. Walking around, it's something that Commissioner Riffle pointed out to me probably a good year ago or more. And walking around the building now, I'm starting to see the wear and tear, missing paint in areas, boards that are starting to be affected by the rain, the ice, the snow that piles up next to them, and starting to rot. So we're going to have to look into that in the coming year, and that expense, which will be a capital expense, to get that provided to us. I have an incident that I have to report that is very concerning to me. We had a theft incident in the station the weekend of November 30th, December 1st. That weekend is when this incident happened. We had just done a boot drive at the marketplace, and within 3 hours we had $960 from the public that was going to be donated to the food bank, along with a multiple amount of food also. At some point between Sunday night and Monday at 3 o'clock, is that when you came in?
Yep.
Monday at 3 o'clock, someone entered the station and went through a number of lockers on the captain's side and a few lockers on the firefighter side. We do have personal items missing. Chief Shields has a pair of gloves. There's a knife missing from a firefighter's gear. There's also some EMS supplies missing from another firefighter's locker. And then the money was being kept in Captain Slentch's locker for that to be taken out and deposited in the Umpqua Bank. Is that where that's where they have their bank account, Christina? So Umpqua Bank, and that was taken as well.
How much money was it?
It was $960.
And then there was also food collected?
So, yeah, food collected, and some of the food that was collected was also taken out of the box that we have back out here in the hallway. Some of the bags were missing as well. So John Slentich came in on Tuesday morning. He noticed that the back door here by the kitchen was actually open and ajar. We don't know what has happened or what transpired. We just know that somebody came into the station, gained access into the station by either punching the code in and just being lucky and figuring out the code, the front door, hearing about the code from one of the members within, and we've gone through that loss. So totaling $960 plus the personal items. Now what I've done as the chief officer of the organization is I've contacted the sheriff's office. The deputy has opened up a formal investigation, and he is going through the process of contacting everybody that had their hands on that money. And he's doing interviews, personal interviews, and he's also doing phone interviews. And I've had all the firefighters involved also document from the time that they came back to us and prior to any public members that were interested in how much funds they were getting in that day. Anybody that maybe had made jokes about, boy, I could use that money. Because to me, it's an opportunistic time. It's Christmas. It's cash that is available. And for some reason, someone decided to make it theirs. So it's in the hands of the sheriff's office at this point. Again, they're going through a formal investigation. Everyone that's was part of that is being contacted by the deputy, and it's formalized. And once I hear the final from the deputy, then I'll let this commissioner panel know what the findings were. So, do you guys have any questions on that?
No, I see your next item is getting some security.
Yeah, so this is probably a long time coming. We should have probably had this done a number of years ago. This incident has definitely pushed us into securing this building and making it more of a small little Fort Knox. I've contacted Security Solutions out of Whatcom. They will be here this Friday, and they're going to walk through the station with me. We're going to, one thing I do know that will be instilled or installed is every door that is an entrance or an exit door and office doors within this building will all be electronic fob keys, so they'll be magnetic at that point. So every member will be given either a card or a small little fob, which is an electronic little like a car key, and you put it on the door, it electronically unlocks the door so people can go in and out. But every time somebody enters or that door or goes through a passageway that requires that, it'll be logged into a computer system, and we'll know who is coming and going. In addition to that, cameras will be placed throughout this building in every room to cover every angle and aspect regarding upstairs and here, the apparatus space as well, because we do have high value items within the station. And now that something has obviously happened and we've sustained that loss, I think it's very prudent to go forth with securing the station as it should have been and as it should be, because it is a public building, although the public needs to be monitored when they're in this building as well. So all of the cameras will be into an off-site computer system, so nothing will be recorded like on disk or anything here. That if they come in here, they can't find out that, okay, the disks are in my office, right in my office, let's take the disks, so we don't have any recordings at that point. It'll all be electronic and off-site, and we can access it at any time from any computer.
Do you have any preliminary ideas on cost, or will it come after you walk through?
It'll come after the walkthroughs. Obviously, this will most likely be a capital expense for the security of the station. There was a fifth item that I was going to add. I don't remember what that was. Somebody said something. I said, yeah, I should add that in there. So that's my points of information. Apparatus, I have nothing to report on any of the apparatus. 858 utility, we still have to get that down to Olson's. I have come to learn that Olson's Body Shop in Bellingham, if it's correct information, actually had a fire.
No, it was actually turned out to be collision one.
Collision one had the fire.
Right.
Okay, so Olson Body Shop is okay. We were first told that it was Olson's, and then you called.
I called and
Okay, so Assistant Chief Shields called. So Olson's Body Shop is still up and running. We just have to find the time and personnel to be able to take down utility 5802 to get that leak fixed in the roof from the light bar, so we can still utilize that as a functional vehicle. Member roster hasn't changed. We have 44 members, 33 Canadian, 7 Point Roberts, Fort County. Volunteer hours, 2,561. Volunteer payroll, 9,369. Combined chief hours, I worked 112.5. And Assistant Chief Shields worked 136.5. Total hours, 249. I was gone again. There was a period of time when I was gone in November. I went to Mexico and got a tan. Biggest John went in October, is that correct?
I went, yeah.
John went in October, November is my month, so I went to Mexico for a week. And I'll tell you that we bought a house. We bought into a home down there. So if anybody would like to go to Mexico, utilize it. It's about a $2.5 million home. has its own pool, hot tub, has 3 master suites. I'd be happy to allow you to utilize that for your vacation. So please, anybody in the public would like to be.
No, I'm not gonna write that down, because I want
No.
to highly that information.
How about you guys, you're not putting that?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Okay, down.
Except for Commissioner Mercy, anybody else is allowed to.
He travels a lot of hotel suites, I know he's like a rock star.
I can only say, Chief, direct your age for next week.
Yeah, pretty much. But,
Not anymore. You're very welcome.
that tells you about my relationship and how well it's going, because we actually purchased it together. So, yeah.
And we all know that the public is highly interested in your personal life.
So my relationship is still going great. Wonderful.
Incredible. This whole thing will take.
I gotta keep it going. Keep it going.
We said if the hours went down.
Yeah,
You said,
when I come in here and say nothing, then you know something's up.
That's when he's getting ready to propose to.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So incidents, total calls, we had 18. Right now we're at 162 calls for the year. Last year we had 180. We still have the remainder of the month of December, so we will most likely be close to 170 or a little over, between 170 and 180. And we had EMS calls, we had 8. We had 3 no transports. We had 4 Ferndale to Medic 45, and we had 1 Whatcom Medic 1 transport. We had no public service, no agency assist. We had 10 fire classifications, 4 automatic alarms, 1 electrical, 4 smoke investigations, and 1 ditch fire. We actually got to squirt some water on a ditch fire, or use a shovel or an axe or something like that. I was not here at the time, but the people that responded to that call were really excited. Because it was actually flames. It was
can you answer a question? How can a ditch catch fire with this weather?
that's a good question. I don't know. Can anybody-
Gentleman had a burn he was burning in the ditch about 3 feet away from a power pole.
Oh, real smart guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I do remember that, because I received a phone call from that gentleman and said, yeah, it's not legal to burn a ditch. So, because that's county right away, so that's county's responsibility. But he was burning in that ditch, so. We had a little discussion on that, he understands it now, and it most likely will never happen again. But it was some excitement, it was some flame, so it was good for the people that responded. Their heart rate got sped up a little bit, and got to squirt some water, maybe, something like that.
Well, it took a while to get the hose out, but he said he had a hose at the site, but it was tangled up so badly, it took him 10 minutes to untangle it.
So yeah, that's right, I think we utilized the site's garden hose.
yes.
Yeah.
So we didn't even get to pull any hose off the fire truck. Yeah.
Be careful what you wish for.
No, I know. It's coming. It's not. It's the amount of wind, right? It's not. It's coming. But anyway, that concludes my chief's report.
I feel like applauding. It was
Yeah,
so
question.
interesting.
Commissioner, do you have a question?
A comment.
Comment?
Very regrettable, about the robbery.
Absolutely.
When we look to remediate the situation with security companies, I want us to make sure we don't overreact.
Absolutely.
This building is actually pretty easy to choke off in 2 or 3 locations because of its interconnectivities in its hallways.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I understand.
So I don't think we need to have fobs and we need to have a fob, but we don't have to rely on it in addition to cameras.
Right. I'll see what their recommendations are going to be. I do know that codes are very easy to share with other people. The main door that we have coming in the apparatus bay, that's the risk that we take there. Doors, some of the doors have their push bars. We can lock those out so the doors open all the time. Sometimes, even though I stress that our firefighters go around the station, make sure all the doors are closed, sometimes that is missed because of a call or they just leave too quickly. And some of these doors have been left open with the push bar engaged, and anybody can open that door. So the reason why I would like to look into the fob, and if it's extremely expensive, obviously we're not going to be able to go that way. But the fob is that regardless, whether it's a push bar or whatever else, that electronic is what controls that door. And it's very easy to do, so I'm not sure what the cost will be. Now, when I'm speaking of cameras, sure, I don't want to load this place with 50-some cameras and, you know, have actually I want a 60-inch screen TV that just has the camera locations on it. Of course, that'll be in my office. And I'm not going to load it. So I understand what you're saying is that I believe we can strategically place cameras that will get every access point, the hallways, and will absolutely see somebody if they decide to enter this station. And you know, only use the cameras that are going to be necessary to accomplish that.
Okay.
Next, let me just finish up.
Go ahead.
Just
Go ahead,
a
sir.
second. We might want to look into funding the security system with the balance sheet that we're trying to adjust. So that may be an opportunity.
Are we able to do that from the Gulf Road?
Maybe.
I don't know.
When we call it, we're going to call
No, he's gonna talk to his CPA
Yeah.
and ask her. But I don't know, I mean, isn't that apples and oranges?
it. No,
No, it's capital.
you do a footnote.
Yeah. But then what do you do with the balance of, let's say it's $10,000. Okay, the security thing. Okay, so I wouldn't vote the whole $10,000.
No, you would.
But what about the 30,000?
That'd be just part of it.
Exactly. But CPA
So now the
answer these
security
questions.
system is worth $13,000?
No.
No.
If it's $10,000, the $3,300 from that particular fund's portion of it, then the $7,000 remaining, or $6,800 remaining
Oh,
comes out of that.
so you reduce.
This can be answered by,
Suzanne,
Yeah, no,
we'll get,
totally. Yeah.
we can get a CPA to answer, don't worry about it. It's just,
I'm not worried about it.
the other thing is that do we not still have money in the bingo account?
Mhm.
Yeah, we still have money that can be utilized out of that bingo account.
great use of the money, because that's what they wanted us to have, was an adequate building.
Well, we're speculating about something we have no idea yet, so let's just wait until Casper
Yeah.
has an idea as to how which route we're going to take. I mean, it's very unfortunate that we have it. Okay, anything else on this subject?
Yes. You have, I take it that during this break-in, none of the drugs were involved?
No, so all of the narcotics are locked up, and the only keys that are distributed are myself and the 3 other paramedics that work here. So they are secured behind 2 securement systems, so a main door and a safe.
Okay, so we have a safe on premises. I think if we have, in the future, a certain amount of money, there should be some, we will slot in that safe where that money can be secured into that safe.
So we've talked about that, and I might end up getting something more secure than the box we currently use in the main office. You know, that's the other thing that came up missing, was the key to the main office. So we've already changed out the locks, we've already rekeyed it.
Well, that's my stuff.
All that's been accomplished, so we don't have, and that key was only to that office, it's not a master key to any other place inside the station. But, you know, we do have a box, you know, inside the main office that may have.
Has a nice little handle on it. You can
Yeah, it
walk away
looks
with
like
it.
a bunch box. But that's where we stick all of our burn permit stuff. So I think we should fortify that better.
There's a real easy thing to do when you have slab construction, and that's put a hole in the ground and put a safe down there.
We have a safe in the floor, and it's actually in the ambulance bay. I'm not going to tell you where,
Not the one where.
because it's top secret. But we do have
You're
a,
not gonna make me go in the ambulance bay,
more than likely not.
open a safe.
I don't believe, we couldn't open it, first of all, because no one remembered the combination.
No, we have it now.
And as far as I know, it's open right now, there's nothing in it. And
I remember those great safes. I mean, back in the days of working gas stations, about every hour and a half, we'd pull off of the bays out front of it, just stuff it down there, and nobody.
yeah, the burn permits is one thing, because Suzanne handles that strictly. The money that is acquired during the boot drives that we have for either community organizations or MDA, other things. That's something that the association normally deals with and takes care of.
Yeah, I don't have anything.
I believe, yeah, that, and really neither do I, because it's an association event that is supported by the fire district, but it's really run through the Volunteers Association. I think the Volunteers Association needs to come up with procedures when they gain that type of money. I do know Umpqua has a Dropbox, if I'm not mistaken.
Every bank has a Dropbox.
Yeah, and that money should be tallied up and immediately taken over to Umpqua and put into the bank and not the general premises. Now, I have to say that John Slenchich did not do anything that has not been done in the past or for years regarding money that has been acquired during these boot drives. Fadi Samaha has managed that for however many years, he still does, but he's kept the money in his locker too. This is the first time that we've ever had a theft of those funds, and talking to Suzanne and a past fire chief, they can't remember when another theft was.
I never remember a theft.
Here at this station. So, you know, I trust law enforcement to do their job, and if it's found to be, hopefully that it's never found to be, but if it's found to be somebody internal, then they'll be prosecuted to the full extent of what the law requires.
No, that's not speculate yet.
Okay, the other question is insurance. Does insurance cover any of this?
No, so the,
It's not our stuff, it's the
yeah, it's the
volunteer
associations.
firefighters.
If the personal items out of their lockers, not the funds, but the personal items that were taken out of their locker, insurance would cover that if they decide to make a claim as a victim. As far as I understand, did you make a claim?
Yep.
I think John made a claim for his gloves, but Captain Aguiar and there might be another person who lost the knife. I don't think they've chosen to make that claim to law enforcement, to the deputy. So if they choose not to file a formal report, then that would not be claimable.
Well, that's also deductible. Meg, can you make sure, make sure that to definitely differentiate between funds from the fire department and funds from and this really has nothing to do with it. Thank you. Okay, anything else on this? Unfinished business? New business? Anybody? I have one. The lease of the lease that we have, the fire department manager next door to the clinic is expiring next year, on May 1st, actually. We need to, the press release is completely out of date, actually. We have no diagram. The square footage is all, Chief, I suggest that you look at this, get it by Stewart.
Okay.
And the new lease should be valid May 1st, 2015.
Okay, we'll do.
Now, they have to pay their rent for the year by April 30th.
And they pay in advance.
Yeah, they pay a year in advance. If they don't get the money in by April 30th, then there's a penalty.
Right.
So,
We've used that clause once, I believe.
yes, I know, because, you know, the bookkeeper for the hospital district and the bookkeeper for the fire district
Right.
messed up.
Right.
I forgot which hat I had on.
No.
Okay.
So when would you like this?
Can we have that for discussion no later than February?
Yes, okay.
Yeah, gives you 2 months.
I'll
And Stan, I would like to ask you, since you're good with pen and paper, can you make a plan?
Sketch plan 8 by 11?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, we'll just update it, so we will move this again.
Yeah, okay, and okay. I have nothing else. Anybody else?
Move to adjourn.
Second?
Done. Thank you all. Have a good week.
Yes. Well, it's not foods, so it's a food drive, it's a drive for the food bank.